Hey guys. Hey guys, how are ya? We are going to make a key lime bread today. So, I already have one baked, well, 4 little ones baked, because it takes 45 minutes for them to bake. So, I went ahead and did 4 minis before I do my big one, and that way I can show you how to glaze them and finish them off while this one is baking. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm not going to use my big mixer, but I'm going to use my hand mixer. No sense of doing all that. All right, so you need a 1/3 cup of butter, softened butter. So I'll put that in. And then we're going to need 3/4 cups of granulated sugar. So that's going in. Hi Bethany, hi Judy, hi Evil Charm. So we got the 1/3 cup of butter and 3/4 cups of sugar. And then we're going to do 2 eggs. Make sure you break your eggs into a separate bowl in case you get just in case you get a shell. Anybody can do it, I've done it. So 2 eggs going in. Then you're going to need 1 tablespoon. Now I already did my zest. So we're going to need a tablespoon of zest, and that's what I have left over here because I already made 1 batch. I'm just going to scrape that in. So that was a tablespoon, guys. A tablespoon of zest. And then, hi Betty, hi Baxter, hi Deborah. So then you're going to need 1 tablespoon of lime juice, which I've already squeezed. So we're going to pour that. So 1 tablespoon of lime juice. Okay. This extra lime juice we're going to be using for our icing. Let's see here. Okay. Then we need a teaspoon of vanilla. 1 teaspoon. A little extra for goodness. Hi Dixie, hi Linda, hi Missy, hi Heather. Okay. And then we're going to mix that up. We're going to mix this up. So I'm going to plug this in. I don't want to get my big mixer dirty just for one cake. Okay guys, so we're just going to mix this up. Make sure you get your butter real cream. Okay, now we're going to add in the dry ingredients. And the milk. Well, not milk, buttermilk. Okay, so now we need 1.5 cups of flour, guys. Hi, Donna. Hi, Elizabeth. We're making key lime bread. So 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. That looks like it. 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, guys. Okay. And then you're going to need 1/2 cup of buttermilk. I didn't have buttermilk, so I made it. Hi, my 3 kids. Hi, Debbie. Hi, PJ. Hi, Sarah. So to make buttermilk, it's 1 cup of milk to a tablespoon of white vinegar. So I made this when I made the first batch. So in goes the buttermilk. And then we're going to stir this up. Is it. So then you're going to pour it in a prepared, I'm going to stir this for a little bit, a prepared 9x5 bread pan. I made 4 minis. Hi Nancy, hi Monique, hi Will. I made 4 mini ones earlier. And they only took half the time to bake. So the large one's going to take 45 minutes. The minis took 22 minutes, so, all right. So I have a glass 9x5 bread pan. We're just going to pour that in. Make sure you scrape your bowl good. And that's it. Now, I'm going to put this in the oven. I'm going to set my timer for 45 minutes. Hi Amanda, hi Kimmy S, hi Mimi. So, we're making key lime bread, guys. Key lime bread. I'll go back over the recipe. Alexa, set the timer for 45 minutes.
45 minutes. Starting now.
Okay, let me get rid of these. So I'm making all over my stove. Okay, so the recipe again. Hi Mama Smiles, hi Rhonda, hi Deborah. Key lime bread, a 1/3 cup of softened butter, 3/4 cups of sugar, 2 eggs, a tablespoon of lime juice, a tablespoon of lime zest, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I gave it a little extra for goodness. 1½ cups of all-purpose flour and 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, and 1/2 cup of buttermilk. So that's all you need for the bread. And then we're going to do the glaze. Okay. So in the glaze, you need 3/4 cups of powdered sugar. Some people call it icing sugar. It's powdered sugar. So you need 3/4 cups, and then you need 2 tablespoons of your lime juice. So 2 tablespoons, guys. Let's see if this looks good, or if we need to add a little bit more. So you're just making a simple glaze. Now, if you wanted, you could put zest in here if you wanted. That's up to you. The directions didn't call for zest for the glaze. Probably look pretty though. Hi Rhonda, hi Kelly, hi Bernadette. Okay, so this feels like a little thick. So I'm just going to add just a little splash in here, guys. Oh, wait, I'm going to wait a minute. Let me keep getting this incorporated. No, that looks good. So if you wanted to add a little bit of zest to your I don't know if I can get any off here or not, but I'll try. Yeah. It'll probably give it a little bit of color. Hi, Cat. Okay. Let's just stick that there. Now, it said that to glaze them while they were warm, so I'm sure they're still warm. Hi, Vicki. Hi, Celine. So out of one batch, I got 4 mini loaves, guys. So if you are a single person and that's too much for you, you can make them like this. Hi. You can make them like this, and you don't have to glaze them all when they're completely cooled. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Gloria. You can wrap these up and put them in the freezer, and then make a little bit of powdered sugar with a little bit of key lime juice. Hi, Sunnydale. And you can bring them out of the freezer and then glaze them. That way, if you're a single person or there's just 2 of you, it makes 4 minis. You can just put 2 in the freezer if you want, and then top them off later. So now it makes 1 loaf. So this recipe makes 1 9x5 loaf, or you can get 4 minis. And what I did was I used my large. Hi, Tanya. I used my large Pampered Chef scoop, and it was exactly 3 scoops per loaf. Exactly. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Liz. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Cupcake. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I think I'm going to put, I don't know if I want to just spread this on or if I want to, I guess we'll just spread it on. I was thinking about maybe getting an icing bag, but I don't know. Let's see here. I mean, they're still a little warm, but they're not so hot you can't pick them up, guys. And it said to let them cool off before you glaze them. So it's going to run. Oh, yep, we're jerking. Let me move some stuff over so it don't go off my counter onto my floor. I don't want that. I don't care if it gets on the counter. Okay. So I read this recipe to my husband, and he said, ooh, that sounds good. He loves key lime pie, and I think tomorrow I'm going to do key lime pie because I had to buy limes, and we'll just keep it up with St. Patrick's Day, you know. I should have dyed the dough green. That's what I should have done. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Sheila. Yep, I should have dyed the dough. I should have put a little bit of green food coloring in my bread. That would have been cute. So, 3/4 of a cup and 2 tablespoons of lime juice, and then I put the little scrapings of zest in there. Hi, Mariette. Hi, Beverly. Hi, Pan. Ooh. That's going to make you pucker. Definitely make you pucker, guys. So, the icing recipe is 3/4 cups of powdered sugar, or some people call it icing sugar, and 2 tablespoons of lime juice. Now this is already starting, so it ran off, as you can see, it's dripping, but it's already getting hard here. So I let these sit out. I pulled these out of the oven literally right when I was going on live. And by the time I mixed up that dough, these were cooling up on this rack, and this icing is already starting to thicken up, sort of like an icing that would be on a Starbucks lemon loaf maybe. So next thing we gotta do is cut it and taste it. So let me get a plate. We gotta go with green for St. Patrick's Day, right guys? Gotta go with green. Let's get a knife. Let's get a cutting board. And we're just gonna see how this tastes. Hopefully it tastes really, really good, guys. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. That's what it looks like on the inside. So it looks really good. Hi Charles, hi Kathy, hi Burrell, hi T. Waddy. Anyhow, I don't want to butcher your name. So let's put it on here, on this green plate. Oh my gosh. It's good. It gives you that pop in the mouth of key lime. It's super good. If you wanted to make it more festive for St. Patrick's Day, you could add a little bit of green food coloring to some of your cake batter. But they're moist. It has a pop to it for the key lime. Super good, guys. Super, super good. It's not a hard recipe. I'll go over it again. It's 1/3 cup of butter softened, 3/4 cups of sugar, 2 eggs, a tablespoon of lime zest, a tablespoon of lime juice, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and I gave it a little extra for goodness. Hi ACP Cats, how are you? Hi Joanne, hi Beasley, hi Kathy, Brooks. A teaspoon of vanilla with a little extra for goodness. 1.5 cups of flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and a 1/2 cup of buttermilk. Now, I did not have buttermilk. Like I said, 1 cup of regular milk to a tablespoon of white vinegar will give you buttermilk. Let it cool for about, 10 minutes. Mix up your glaze, which is 3/4 cups of powdered sugar and 2 tablespoons of lime juice, and it will look like this, guys. This is already hard. Like, the top part's hard, but underneath is soft, and when you bite into it, it'll make you pucker. So It's a really good recipe. I think you guys should try it. You'll like it. Tomorrow, I probably will get on and make a key lime pie because I bought these limes and my husband loves key lime. So they have icing all over me. So I think that's what I'm going to make tomorrow is some a key lime pie. And I was thinking I was going to make my sugar cookies. I bet if I, instead of using vanilla in my sugar cookies, and I use the lime juice with some lime zest, and then decorate them with, put some lime juice in my icing recipe, and do those shamrocks, I bet those things will be delicious. I might try that. Hi, Kathy Brooke. Hi, Callie. How are you? Hi, Sherry. So, yeah, guys, I know this is a short video, but I pre-made one, did the batter online, and then did the icing with you guys. You guys got to make these super good. Like I said, if you make the one recipe and there's only 1 or 2 people in your household, make the minis. You'll get 4. You can put them in the freezer, wrap them up, and pull them out whenever you're ready. Just don't put your icing on. Wait till, you get them out of the freezer, let them defrost, and then put your icing on top. Hi, Roberta Jones. Hi, Kathy Brooks. And then, you can have 4 small ones instead of, hi, Debbie. You can have 4 small ones instead of a large one. Hi, Camilla. Hi, Robert. Hi, Naomi. Hi, Janie. Hi, Carolyn. So anyway, this is it, guys. This is it. Hi, Marie. So you can either get 4 littles or you can get 1 big. The big one's cooking. It's got 30 minutes left. I will post this recipe when I'm done, and a picture of everything whenever I'm done with it. And I hope you guys make it. If I like it, I'll tell you. If I don't, I'll tell you. I have told you on here before I don't like the recipe. So I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to get off here. Like, follow, share, and I'll see you tomorrow.